Have you ever stood in a grocery store abroad, staring at a product, your mind completely blank, because you have no idea what it's called or how to ask for it? That frantic, silent panic? I've been there. That exact feeling of being lost in a world of food is why we're here today. Welcome to your first, truly delicious step into English. Welcome to Beginner's English Vocabulary for Food and Drinks. My name is Anna, and I'll be your guide on this tasty journey. Forget boring lists and overwhelming textbooks. We are going to learn English the way we experience life, through our senses. We're going to talk about the crisp crunch of an apple, the steaming warmth of a morning coffee, and the sweet chill of ice cream. This isn't just about memorizing words, it's about giving you the power to describe the world you taste every single day. By the end of our time together, you will walk into any cafe, any market, any restaurant with confidence. You will be able to order your favorite meal, ask for what you need, and even discover new foods you'll love, all in English. So, let's start with the absolute basics, the foundation of every meal. We need to talk about the different types of food. In English, we often group our food into categories. The first and most vibrant category is fruits. These are the sweet or sour, often seed-bearing parts of plants. Think of a bright red apple, a soft yellow banana, or the juicy segments of an orange. They are nature's candy, perfect for a snack. Next, we have vegetables. These are other parts of the plant, like the leaves, roots, or stems. A crunchy carrot, a leafy green lettuce, or a versatile potato are all vegetables. They are essential for our main meals. Now, let's build a simple breakfast with this vocabulary. Imagine you are in a hotel. The waiter asks you, "What would you like for breakfast?" You can now say, "I would like some fruit, please." Or, more specifically, "I would like a banana and an apple." See? You're already communicating. But breakfast often needs something more. Let's talk about drinks, or what we also call beverages. This is any liquid we consume. The most important one is water. Never forget that word. Then, we have hot drinks. Many people start their day with coffee, a dark, aromatic drink that gives you energy, or tea, which can be black, green, or herbal. And for a cold, creamy option, we have milk. It often comes from cows, but you can also find soy milk or almond milk. So, for your breakfast order, you can now say, "I would like a banana, an apple, and a cup of coffee with milk." That is a complete, simple, and perfectly correct sentence. A small but powerful tip for you as we learn: don't just repeat the words silently. Say them out loud. Feel the shape of the words in your mouth. Apple. Coffee. Banana. This connects your brain, your mouth, and your ears, making the memory of the word much stronger. It feels a little strange at first, but I promise you, it is the fastest way to learn. Ready for more? Let's move from breakfast to lunch and discover the words that will power you through your day. But what about when that morning hunger strikes a little harder? When you need more than just a piece of fruit? That's when we move to the heartier foods, the ones that truly fill you up. Let's talk about meat and seafood. These are important sources of protein. The word meat generally comes from animals. For example, we have chicken, which is a white meat from a bird. We have beef, which is red meat from a cow, and we use it to make delicious hamburgers. Then there's pork, from a pig, which can become bacon, a salty, crispy breakfast favorite, or a ham sandwich for lunch. Now, from the ocean, we have seafood. This includes fish, like salmon or tuna, which can be grilled or baked. It also includes other creatures like shrimp, those small, pink, curly things that are so tasty with a little lemon. So, if you are at a restaurant for lunch, you might look at the menu and see grilled chicken or steamed fish. You now understand what those are. And we can't have our meat or fish all alone on the plate, can we? They are often accompanied by those vegetables we talked about earlier. But now, let's get more specific with them. Instead of just saying vegetables, you can learn the names of the most common ones. The green tree-like one is broccoli. The long, orange one is a carrot. The round one that makes you cry when you chop it is an onion. And the one that is often in salads, very crunchy and full of water, is a cucumber. Knowing these specific names will make you feel so much more precise when you order. Let's build a lunch order. You can say, I would like the grilled chicken with broccoli and carrots. That is a fantastic, clear order. But wait, there's often one more thing on that plate. Rice. Rice is a grain, a small, white, or sometimes brown, staple food for billions of people. It's the perfect base for our meat and vegetables. And to go with our lunch, we might want a different drink. Maybe a cold juice. Orange juice is a classic morning drink, but for lunch, you might prefer apple juice or something more exotic like pineapple juice. Or, perhaps, a simple bottle of water. Remember, still water is without bubbles, and sparkling water has bubbles. This is a very useful distinction. So your vocabulary is growing. You have fruits, vegetables, meats, seafood, and drinks. But there is one more magical category that makes our food taste incredible: dairy. This includes milk, which we already know, but also cheese, which can be yellow, white, soft, or hard, and yogurt, a creamy, often tangy food that's great with fruit. A little cheese on your hamburger or a yogurt with your lunch? Perfect. But what about those moments between meals? The ones where your stomach whispers for a little something? That's where the world of snacks and desserts comes in, and it's a wonderfully delicious part of the English language. Let's talk about snacks first. These are small amounts of food eaten between meals. Maybe you're feeling a little hungry in the afternoon. You might want some chips, which are thin, salty, and crispy slices of potato. Or perhaps you'd prefer a chocolate bar, a sweet, solid block made from cocoa. Another very common snack is a cookie, a small, sweet, baked cake that's often crunchy or soft. My personal favorite is a chocolate chip cookie. Now, after a meal, especially dinner, we often have something sweet. This is called dessert. Dessert can be many things. It could be a piece of cake, a soft, sweet-baked bread-like food, often with layers and frosting. Think of a birthday cake. It could be a pie, a baked dish with a pastry crust and a sweet filling, like apple pie or cherry pie. And of course, there is ice cream, a frozen, creamy dessert that comes in many flavors like vanilla, chocolate, and strawberry. Can you imagine ordering dessert in a restaurant now? You could say, I would like to see the dessert menu, please. And then, I'll have the apple pie and a scoop of vanilla ice cream. How wonderful does that sound? Now, let's revisit our drinks with a few more details. We talked about coffee, tea, and juice. But there are other very common beverages. Many people love soda or pop. This is a sweet, fizzy drink, like Coca-Cola or Pepsi. It's full of bubbles and is very refreshing on a hot day. Another category is alcoholic drinks, for adults only. This includes beer, wine, and cocktails. You will need to show an identification card to prove your age to buy these in many countries. A crucial piece of advice for you: context is everything. The word chip means a potato snack in American English, but in British English, it can also mean what Americans call fries. Similarly, what Americans call chips, British people call crisps. Don't let this confuse you. For now, we are focusing on the most widely used American English terms. The key is to listen to the situation. If you are in a restaurant and someone is talking about eating chips with fish, they probably mean fries. So now your food vocabulary is expanding into the truly fun and social areas. Snacks and desserts are about pleasure and sharing. You are learning not just to survive, but to enjoy and connect with people over food. Let's practice. Imagine you are at a friend's house. They offer you a snack. You can say, "Yes, please. Do you have any fruit or maybe a cookie?" Or, if they offer you a drink, you can ask, "Do you have any juice or water?" See how you are building complete, useful sentences? This is real, practical English. Now that we can name the food, let's bring it to life. Let's talk about how we prepare it. The magic happens in the kitchen, and knowing these verbs will make you feel like a chef in any language. The most basic method is to cook food. This is a general term for preparing food using heat. But we can be much more specific. If you use very hot water, you boil it. We boil water for tea or pasta. We boil eggs for breakfast. If you use a pan with a little oil or butter over direct heat, you fry it. You can fry an egg or fry some potatoes. If you use dry heat in an oven, you bake it. We bake bread, cakes, and potatoes. And if you cook something quickly in a very hot pan, often with a little oil, we say we sauté it. This is perfect for vegetables like onions and peppers. But cooking is only half the story. How do we describe the food itself? This is where adjectives become your best friend. Let's start with taste. If something has a lot of sugar, like cake or ice cream, it is sweet. If something has a sharp, tangy taste like a lemon, it is sour. If something has the taste of salt, like chips or popcorn, it is salty. And if something has the deep, complex flavor of meat or mushrooms, we call it savory. Now, let's talk about texture, how the food feels in your mouth. Bread can be soft. A raw carrot is hard and crunchy. A piece of well-cooked steak might be tough, while a piece of slow-cooked meat is tender. Peanut butter is creamy, and oatmeal is soft and mushy. Knowing these words allows you to have a real conversation about food. You are no longer just pointing at a menu. You can express a preference. You can say, "I prefer savory snacks to sweet ones." Or, "I like my vegetables to be a little crunchy, not soft." This is a huge leap in your language ability. Let me give you a powerful learning tip. The next time you eat anything, anywhere, try to describe it to yourself in English. In your mind, think, "This soup is very hot. The bread is soft and a little salty. The chicken is tender." This simple habit transforms your daily meals into a constant, effortless English lesson. You are connecting the vocabulary directly to a real-life experience, which makes it unforgettable. You are not just learning words, you are learning to describe your world. Now, let's put all this vocabulary into action. Let's talk about the verbs of eating and drinking themselves. This is how we bring the food from the plate to our mouths. The most common verb is, of course, to eat. We eat breakfast, we eat lunch, we eat dinner. It's the universal action for consuming solid food. For liquids, we use the verb to drink. We drink water, we drink coffee, we drink juice. But we can be more descriptive. When you take food into your mouth, you take a bite. I took a bite of the apple. When you consume a liquid, you take a sip. I took a sip of my coffee. If you are eating something like soup, you might spoon it into your mouth, or simply eat it with a spoon. When you are finished with your food, you are done. You can say, I am done with my meal. It's also important to describe how we feel about food. Before you eat, you are hungry. This is that feeling in your stomach when you need food. After you eat a big meal, you are full. You cannot eat any more. For drinks, when you need liquid, you are thirsty. After you drink a lot of water, you are no longer thirsty. Let's create a full scene now. You are in a restaurant. The server comes to your table. They might say, "Are you ready to order?" You can respond, "Yes, I am." Then you can use all the vocabulary we have learned. I would like to start with a green salad. For my main course, I will have the grilled fish with rice and vegetables. And a glass of water, please. After you finish your meal, the server might ask, "Did you enjoy your meal?" You can say, "Yes, it was delicious." And when you are ready to leave, you can say, "Could I have the bill, please?" This is real, practical English. You are not just learning words, you are learning how to navigate a common social situation. Every time you practice this scene in your mind, you are building a neural pathway that will make it effortless when you are in a real restaurant. Remember, the goal is not perfection. The goal is communication. Even if your sentence is simple, it is powerful. You are connecting with another person through the universal language of food. But knowing the words for food is only the beginning. To truly own this vocabulary, you need to live it. Let's talk about the places where we find food and the people we interact with. This is where our vocabulary meets the real world. First, you might go to a grocery store or a supermarket. This is a large shop where you can buy all your food for the week. You take a shopping cart or a basket and walk through the aisles, the long rows between shelves. You will see signs for different sections: the produce section for fresh fruits and vegetables, the dairy section for milk, cheese, and yogurt, and the meat counter for chicken and beef. You pick up the items you need, you pay at the checkout counter, and you put your food in bags to take home. Sometimes, you don't want to cook. You want to eat out. So you go to a restaurant. When you enter, the host or hostess will greet you and ask, "How many people?" and then take you to your table. You will be given a menu to look at. The person who serves you your food and drink is called a server or a waiter, for a man, or a waitress, for a woman. They will take your order. After you eat, you will receive a bill or a check that you must pay. Now, let's get even more specific with some useful phrases. How do you ask for something you can't see? Imagine you are in a cafe and you want sugar for your coffee. You can ask the server, "Could I have some sugar, please?" If you are not sure what something is on the menu, it is perfectly okay to point and ask, "What is this?" or "Can you tell me about this dish?" People are usually very happy to help. A fantastic way to practice this is to create a mental map. The next time you are in your own kitchen at home, open your refrigerator. Look inside and try to name every item in English. This is milk. These are eggs. This is lettuce. This is a bottle of water. Then, go to your cupboard. This is rice. These are cans of beans. This is a box of cookies. Do the same thing when you are in a supermarket. Silently name the things you see. There is the bread. There is the fish counter. This turns every errand into a productive English lesson. But a rich vocabulary isn't just about naming things, it's about describing them in a way that brings them to life. Let's dive deeper into the world of adjectives. We've touched on sweet, sour, salty, and savory. Now, let's explore textures and states more. Imagine biting into a piece of bread. If it was made today, it's fresh. If it was made last week, it's stale, hard, and not pleasant to eat. Fruit can be ripe, perfectly ready to eat, or unripe, which is still green and not sweet. Now, think about temperature. Food can be hot, like a steaming soup. It can be warm, like a piece of toast. It can be cold, like ice cream, or cool, like a glass of water from the refrigerator. These words help you express exactly what you want. You can tell a server, "My soup is not hot enough. Could you please heat it up?" Or, "I'd like a cool drink, please." Let's combine this with our cooking verbs. You can now create much more detailed descriptions. You can say, "I love crispy, fried chicken." That tells me it's cooked in oil and has a hard, crunchy outside. Or, "I prefer soft, boiled vegetables." That means they are cooked in water until they are tender. Another great word is creamy. We use this for smooth, soft foods like avocado or a rich soup. This soup is very creamy and savory. This is how you move from simple words to expressive language. You are painting a picture with your words. You are not just saying, "I eat soup." You are saying, "I am eating a hot, creamy, savory mushroom soup." Do you feel the difference? The second sentence is alive. It makes me can almost taste the soup myself. Here is a challenge for you. For the next 3 meals you eat, I want you to describe one item on your plate using 2 adjectives. It doesn't have to be complicated. It can be as simple as, "This is cold, sweet yogurt," or "These are salty, crispy chips." This active practice is the key to moving words from your memory to your active vocabulary. You are training your brain to think in English about the things you experience directly. Now, let's step into a very common and sometimes nervous situation, ordering food at a restaurant. We're going to move beyond the simple "I want" and learn some key phrases that will make you sound confident and polite. The magic words here are "I would like," which is a much more polite and natural way to order than "I want." You can also say "Could I have," or "I'll have." Let's set the scene. The server comes to your table and asks, "Are you ready to order?" You can say, "Yes, we are." Then you begin. "For my starter, I would like the tomato soup." A starter, also called an appetizer, is a small dish before the main course. Then, for your main course, you say, and for my main course, I'll have the grilled chicken with potatoes. Finally, you order your drink. And to drink, I'd like a glass of water, please. See how smooth that can be? But what if you have a question? What if you don't know what a word on the menu means? It's perfectly okay to ask. You can say, "Excuse me, what is in the chef's salad?" or "Could you tell me what this comes with?" The server is there to help you. Another very important question is about allergies. If you are allergic to something, for example, nuts, you must say, "I have a nut allergy." Does this dish contain any nuts? This is very serious and important for your safety. Now, imagine the food arrives. The server might say, "Enjoy your meal," and you can simply reply, "Thank you." But what if there's a problem? What if you ordered chicken and they brought you fish? You can politely get the server's attention and say, "I'm sorry, but I think there might be a mistake. I ordered the chicken, not the fish." This is a clear, calm, and effective way to solve the problem without being rude. Remember, everyone makes mistakes, and servers are busy. Being polite will always get you better results. Practice this conversation at home. Pretend to be both the customer and the server. The more you practice these dialogues, the more automatic they will become when you need them. You are not just learning words, you are learning a social script for success. Now that we can confidently order in a restaurant, let's bring our skills back home to the heart of every meal, the kitchen. Understanding how we talk about preparing food is just as important as knowing the food names themselves. Let's explore a typical day of meals, from sunrise to sunset, and the specific vocabulary that brings it to life. Let's start with breakfast, the first meal of the day. This is often a quick but important meal. Some people enjoy a bowl of cereal with cold milk. Cereal is usually made from grains like corn or oats and is often crunchy and sweet. Others prefer oatmeal, which is a type of porridge made from oats and hot water or milk. It's warm and soft. And, of course, we have eggs. Eggs are incredibly versatile. You can have boiled eggs, fried eggs, or scrambled eggs. If you have scrambled eggs with some vegetables like onions and peppers mixed in, you are having an omelette. After breakfast, we have lunch. This is the midday meal. Lunch can be something simple like a sandwich. A sandwich is made with 2 slices of bread and fillings inside. The fillings could be cheese, ham, chicken, or vegetables like lettuce and tomato. Another common lunch is soup. Soup is a liquid food, often hot, made by cooking meat, fish, or vegetables in a large amount of liquid. A classic example is chicken soup. The largest meal of the day for many is dinner, also called supper. This is when we often have a combination of a main course and side dishes. The main course might be a piece of meat or fish. The side dishes are often vegetables like green beans or mashed potatoes, and a grain like rice or pasta. Pasta, like spaghetti or penne, is usually served with a sauce, such as tomato sauce or a creamy Alfredo sauce. A final tip for today: listen for these meal names and dish names in English language TV shows or movies. Pay attention to what characters order in a cafe or talk about eating for dinner. This passive listening is a powerful way to reinforce what you're learning and to hear the natural rhythm and pronunciation of these words. You are surrounding yourself with the language, and that is how fluency begins to grow. But what about all those little things that complete a meal? The extras that add flavor, the tools we use, and the very setting of the table? These details are the final piece of the puzzle, making your food experience and your vocabulary truly complete. Let's talk about condiments. These are sauces or seasonings we add to our food to enhance the taste. The most common ones are salt, a white crystal that makes food saltier, and pepper, a black powder that adds a little spice. Then there's ketchup, a sweet and tangy red sauce often used with fries and burgers. Mustard is a yellow or brown sauce that can be sharp and tangy. And mayonnaise is a creamy, white sauce made from eggs and oil, perfect for sandwiches. Now, to get the food from the plate to your mouth, you need utensils, also called cutlery. The main three are a knife, which you use to cut food, a fork, which you use to spear and lift food, and a spoon, which you use for soups, cereals, and desserts. When you sit down at a table, your place will have a plate for your main food, a bowl for soup or cereal, and a glass for your drink. You might also have a cup and saucer for tea or coffee. Knowing these words allows you to ask for what you need. If you are in a restaurant and you don't have a spoon, you can say, "Excuse me, could I have a spoon, please?" If you want some ketchup for your fries, you can ask your friend, "Could you please pass the ketchup?" The verb to pass is very useful at the dinner table. It means to hand something to someone. Let's put it all together in one final, detailed description. Imagine you are describing your dinner. On my plate, I have a juicy hamburger. I used a knife and fork to cut it. I put some ketchup and mustard on it. On the side, I have crispy fries with a little salt. I am drinking a cold glass of water. For dessert, I will have a slice of chocolate cake with a fork. This description is rich, clear, and uses vocabulary from every part of our journey. You have now built a strong and practical foundation in food and drink vocabulary. You can name the food, describe it, cook it, order it, and eat it, all in English. Remember, language is nourishment for the mind, just as food is for the body. Keep practicing, keep tasting, and keep speaking. Now that we have a feast of vocabulary, let's make it even more practical. Let's talk about how to combine these words into natural, flowing sentences that you will use every day. Think about how we describe our habits. A very useful phrase is "I usually have." This tells people what you normally eat or drink. For example, I usually have coffee and toast for breakfast. Or, for lunch, I usually have a sandwich and a piece of fruit. But what if you want to talk about what you are going to eat in the future? That's where "I am going to have" comes in. This is for your plans. You can say, "Tonight, I am going to have pasta for dinner." Or, "I am going to have a glass of milk before I go to bed." It's a simple and powerful way to talk about your immediate food plans. Another essential skill is expressing your likes and dislikes. The simplest way is "I like" and "I don't like." You can say, "I like chocolate ice cream," or "I don't like broccoli." To be more polite, you can say, "I'm not a big fan of fish," which is a softer way to say you don't like it. And when you really love something, you can say, "I love pizza," or "My favorite fruit is the mango." Let's use all this in a conversation. Imagine you are talking to a new friend about food. They ask, "What do you usually have for breakfast?" You answer, "I usually have yogurt and a banana. And I always drink coffee." Then they ask, "What are you going to have for lunch today?" You say, "I'm going to have chicken soup and a salad." Finally, they ask, "Do you like Italian food?" You reply, "Yes, I love it. My favorite dish is spaghetti." This is how language comes alive. You are moving from single words to sharing information about your life and preferences. This is the ultimate goal: connection. Food is a universal topic, and being able to discuss it opens doors to friendship and cultural exchange. Keep practicing these simple sentence structures. They are the building blocks of every conversation you will ever have in English. So far, we've been to restaurants and cooked in kitchens. But where does the food come from before that? It's time to go shopping. This is where your vocabulary gets a real workout. Let's walk through a grocery store together. Before you go, it's smart to make a shopping list. This is a list of all the items you need to buy. Let's write one together. First, we need fruits and vegetables. Let's write down apples, bananas, lettuce, and tomatoes. Next, we go to the dairy section. We need milk, cheese, and yogurt. Then, to the meat counter for some chicken and beef. Don't forget the bread from the bakery section and a box of cereal. Finally, we need a bottle of cooking oil and a bag of rice. Now, imagine you are in the store. You have your list. You are looking for an item, but you can't find it. What do? You can ask a store employee for help. You can say, "Excuse me, where can I find the rice?" or "Could you tell me where the dairy section is?" They will usually point you in the right direction or even take you there. A fantastic learning tip is to actually write your real shopping list in English once a week. Start with the words you know. If you don't know a word, like laundry detergent, look it up and add it. This connects your learning directly to your life. You are not studying random words, you are learning the exact vocabulary you need to live your life in English. When you are in the store, try to think the English names of the products as you put them in your cart. This is my milk. These are my tomatoes. This constant, passive practice is incredibly effective. Let's practice a short dialogue. You are at the checkout counter. The cashier says, "Did you find everything okay?" You can answer, "Yes, thank you." They might ask, "Do you need any bags?" You can say, "Yes, please," or "No, thank you, I have my own." Then you pay, take your bags, and you're done. You have successfully navigated a grocery store in English. Food is more than just fuel, it's a social experience. So let's learn the language of sharing a meal with others. Imagine you are a guest in someone's home. The host might offer you food by saying, "Would you like some more potatoes?" or "Can I get you another drink?" How do you respond? If you would like more, you can say, "Yes, please." That would be lovely. If you are full and do not want more, you can say, "No, thank you. I'm full, it was delicious." Now, what if you are the one offering? The simplest phrases are, "Help yourself," which means "Please take what you want," or "Would you like some of this?" It is also very common to compliment the cook. You can say, "This is amazing," or "The chicken is so flavorful." This is considered very polite and appreciative. But sometimes, there are things we cannot eat. We already talked about allergies. Another common reason is a dietary preference. For example, if you are a vegetarian, you do not eat meat. You might eat eggs and dairy, but no chicken, beef, or fish. If you are a vegan, you do not eat any animal products at all, no meat, no dairy, no eggs, no honey. It's important to be able to communicate this clearly. You can say, I am vegetarian, so I don't eat meat. Or, I am vegan. Are there any animal products in this dish? This leads us to a very important and useful question: what is in this? You have the right to ask this anytime. It shows you are engaged and careful about what you eat. You might ask it about a sandwich, a salad, or a soup. The answer will help you learn even more words. They might say, it has lettuce, tomato, cucumber, and tuna. Now you have learned a new combination of words. My learning tip for this social language is to watch a scene from an English language movie or TV show that takes place at a dinner table. Listen carefully to how the characters offer food, refuse politely, compliment the cook, and ask questions about the dish. You will hear the natural rhythm and polite phrases that are used in everyday life. This is how you learn not just the words, but the music of the language. We have built an incredible vocabulary together. But I want to prepare you for the real, messy, and wonderful world of spoken English. Sometimes, you will hear words that seem to break the rules. Sometimes, you won't know the exact word for something. That is perfectly normal, and today, we will learn how to handle those moments with confidence. Let's talk about compound words. These are two words we put together to create a new meaning. Think about the word cupcake. It's not a cup made of cake, it's a small cake. Or peanut butter. It's not butter from a peanut, it's a spread made from peanuts. Another common one is watermelon. It's a melon that is full of water and very refreshing. Don't be intimidated by these. See them as puzzles. Once you know the two basic words, you can often guess the meaning. Now, what do you do when you can't remember the word for broccoli? Don't panic. You can describe it. You can say, it's the green vegetable that looks like a little tree. This is a powerful skill called circumlocution. You are using the words you do know to describe the word you don't know. You can't remember pineapple? Say, it's a large, tropical fruit with a rough, brown outside and sweet, yellow inside. People will almost always understand and help you. This leads us to another essential phrase: what do you call? This is your best friend when you're stuck. You can point to an item and ask, what do you call this? Or you can describe it, what do you call the long, yellow fruit? People love to help, and this question turns a moment of confusion into a fantastic learning opportunity. My final piece of advice for building fluency is this: embrace the mistakes. You will mispronounce a word. You might call a grape by accident. It's okay. Everyone does it. The goal is communication, not perfection. Every time you successfully describe a food you can't name, you are winning. Every time you ask, what do you call this? You are growing. Your vocabulary is now a living, breathing tool that you can use to explore any market, any menu, and any conversation about the world of food. We have journeyed through the world of food and drink together, building your vocabulary piece by piece. But knowledge is like a muscle, it grows stronger with use. So, let's talk about how to keep this vocabulary alive and growing long after our time here ends. The key is to make English a part of your daily routine, to weave it into the fabric of your life until it feels natural and effortless. One of the most powerful techniques is to create a simple English ritual for one of your meals. Perhaps it's breakfast. As you prepare your coffee and toast, talk to yourself in English. Describe your actions. I am pouring the milk into my coffee. The coffee is hot and dark. I am toasting the bread. I can smell the bread toasting. This self-talk, this narration of your own life, is a profound way to practice. It connects language directly to action and sensation. Another fantastic method is to change the language on your phone to English for just 1 hour a week. In that hour, if you look up a recipe, you will see English cooking terms. If you scroll through a food delivery app, you will see menu items in English. This forces your brain to engage with the vocabulary in a modern, practical context. You might see a picture of a hamburger and right below it, the word beef patty or sesame seed bun. This is contextual learning at its best. Remember, fluency is not a destination you arrive at, it is a path you walk every day. Some days you will remember every word. Other days, you might struggle to recall apple. This is normal. Be kind to yourself on this journey. The fact that you are trying, that you are practicing, that you are reading this right now, means you are already successful. You now possess the tools to talk about the food you love, the meals you enjoy, and the drinks you crave. You can navigate a supermarket, order from a menu, and share a meal with friends. You have not just learned words, you have learned a new way to connect with the world. So take these words, step out with confidence, and enjoy every delicious conversation that comes your way. You are ready. To truly master this vocabulary, we must move beyond simply naming objects and into the realm of action and interaction. Let's focus on the verbs that bring a meal to life. These are the words that describe what we do with our food and drink, and they are essential for telling stories and giving instructions. First, the most fundamental actions, to eat and to drink. We use these constantly. But we can be more specific. Before you eat, you often need to prepare the food. This is the general term for getting food ready to cook or eat. This could involve washing vegetables or measuring ingredients. Then comes the cooking. We have already learned fry, bake, and boil. Now let's add grill. This means to cook food on a metal frame over direct heat, often giving it distinctive lines. I will grill the chicken for dinner. Another common method is to roast, which is similar to baking but often used for larger pieces of meat or vegetables cooked in an oven. We roasted a turkey for the holiday. Once the food is cooked, we serve it. This means to put the food onto plates for people to eat. My father will serve the soup. Then, we begin to eat. We can take a bite of a sandwich. We can sip our tea if it is hot. We chew our food, which is the action of crushing it with our teeth before swallowing. A very important verb for your health is to choke. This means to have something stuck in your throat, making it hard to breathe. If this ever happens, someone might need to help you. It's a serious word, but knowing it is crucial. After the meal, we are full. We stop eating. We then clean up. This means to wash the dishes, clean the table, and put everything away. After we eat, we all help to clean up. Practicing these verbs is easy. As you cook your next meal, narrate your actions in simple English. First, I wash the vegetables. Then, I cut the carrots. Now, I am boiling the water. I will serve the food. Now, I am eating the food. It is delicious. This real-time practice connects the vocabulary to physical action, creating a powerful and lasting memory in your brain. You are not just learning words, you are living the language. Our journey through food vocabulary is becoming more and more practical. Now, let's explore one of the best ways to learn and practice all these new words, by following a recipe. A recipe is a set of instructions for preparing a specific dish. It's a perfect tool because it combines nouns, verbs, and adjectives in a clear, actionable way. Let's look at a simple recipe for a popular snack, guacamole. First, you will see a list of ingredients. These are all the food items you need. For guacamole, the ingredients are 2 ripe avocados, 1 lime, a small onion, 1 tomato, some salt, and a few leaves of cilantro. Do you know all these words? Avocado is a fruit with green, creamy flesh. Lime is a small, green, sour citrus fruit. Cilantro is a fresh, leafy herb with a strong, distinct flavor. Next, come the instructions. These are the steps you must follow, using the cooking verbs we have learned. The first instruction might be, cut the avocados in half and remove the pit. Then, scoop the avocado flesh into a bowl. After that, chop the onion and the tomato into small pieces. To chop means to cut something into pieces. Then, add the chopped onion and tomato to the bowl. You also squeeze the juice from the lime into the bowl. Finally, add salt and chopped cilantro. Mash everything together with a fork until it is creamy. To mash means to crush something into a soft, smooth paste. By reading and following recipes in English, you are doing more than just learning vocabulary. You are training your brain to understand commands and sequences in English. You are learning how things are combined and prepared. Start with simple recipes like this one. Read them aloud as you cook. This connects the words to the actions and the ingredients in a powerful, multi-sensory way that makes the language stick. You are not just studying, you are creating, and that is the most enjoyable form of learning. To make your new vocabulary truly useful, you need to understand how English speakers describe opposites and comparisons in food. This allows you to express your preferences clearly and understand menus and product descriptions more deeply. Let's explore some essential opposite pairs. The most basic pair is hot and cold. Your soup should be hot, and your ice cream should be cold. Then we have sweet and sour. A ripe strawberry is sweet, but a lemon is sour. Another important pair is fresh and stale. We want fresh bread, which is soft and new, not stale bread, which is old, hard, and dry. But what about when something is not just sweet, but very sweet? Or not just hot, but too hot? This is where we use modifiers. We can say something is very sweet or really hot. We can also say it is too salty, meaning there is an unpleasant amount of salt. If we want something in the middle, we can say it is not too sweet, which is a positive way to say it is perfectly balanced. Now, let's talk about comparisons. We often compare two different foods. The structure is simple. For short words, we add "er". For example, an apple is sweeter than a lemon. This soup is hotter than that soup. For longer words, we use more. This cake is more delicious than that cookie. Fresh fish is more expensive than canned fish. To practice this, try a simple exercise the next time you eat two different things. Compare them in your mind in English. This banana is sweeter than my yogurt. My coffee is hotter than my water. This active practice trains your brain to form these small, comparative sentences automatically. I remember when I first learned these opposites. I was in a cafe and I said, "I want a cold coffee, not a hot coffee." The server understood me perfectly and gave me an iced coffee. It was a small victory, but it filled me with confidence. You will have these moments too. Each time you successfully use a word to get what you want, the language becomes more yours. Keep tasting, keep describing, and most importantly, keep communicating. Now, let's get ready for some of the most common and sometimes tricky situations you will face in restaurants and shops. Knowing what to say will transform these moments from stressful to successful. Imagine you are in a nice restaurant and you've finished your delicious meal. The server comes and asks, "Would you like anything else?" If you are finished, you can say, "No, thank you. Just the bill, please." The word bill is more common in British English, while check is used in American English. Both are perfectly correct. But what if there was a problem with the meal? What if your steak was overcooked, meaning it was cooked for too long and is now too tough? You can politely say, "I'm sorry, but my steak is overcooked. Could I please have another one?" Remember, being polite with "I'm sorry" and "please" makes the interaction much smoother. On the other hand, if your soup is undercooked, meaning it is not cooked enough and maybe the vegetables are still hard, you can use the same structure, "I think this soup is undercooked." Another common situation is splitting the bill. If you are with friends and you want to pay only for what you ate, you can say, "Could we have separate bills, please?" This asks the server to give each person their own check. If you want to pay for the entire meal, you can simply say, "I'll get the bill," or "It's on me." Finally, let's talk about tipping. In many countries like the United States, you are expected to leave a tip. This is an extra amount of money, usually 15 to 20% of the total bill, that you give to the server as a thank you for their service. You don't need to say anything special. You just leave the cash on the table or add it to your credit card payment. Knowing these phrases gives you control and confidence. You are no longer just a passive participant in a restaurant, you are an active communicator who can manage the situation from start to finish. Practice these sentences aloud. Role play with a friend. The more you prepare for these real-life interactions, the more comfortable and empowered you will feel when they happen. To truly make this vocabulary your own, we need to move beyond single words and even beyond simple sentences. We need to start thinking in full, flowing ideas. Let's paint a picture with our words. Let me describe a scene to you, and as I do, notice how all the vocabulary we've learned comes together to create a complete and vivid image. Imagine we are walking through a busy outdoor market on a Saturday morning. The air is filled with amazing smells. From one stall, we smell the rich, deep aroma of freshly brewed coffee. At the next, the sweet, sugary scent of pastries baking in an oven. We see a vibrant fruit stand. The oranges are a bright orange, the apples are a shiny red, and the bananas are a perfect yellow. The vendor smiles and offers us a slice of a sweet, juicy pineapple. We move to the vegetables section. We see long, green cucumbers, deep purple eggplants, and cheerful red tomatoes. We decide to buy some potatoes and carrots to make a soup later. We also pick up a loaf of crusty bread from the bakery stall. The bread is still warm from the oven. For lunch, we stop at a small counter. We watch the cook grill chicken on a hot plate. He chops the chicken and places it on a bed of lettuce and tomatoes inside a soft pita bread. This is a chicken wrap. We order one each and also buy 2 cold bottles of water. We find a bench and sit down to eat. The wrap is delicious, the chicken is savory and tender, the vegetables are fresh and crunchy, and the bread is soft. It is the perfect lunch. By creating these detailed mental scenes, you are building a network of associations in your brain. The word tomato is no longer just a word, it is connected to the color red, the vegetable stand, the chicken wrap, and the feeling of a sunny day at the market. This is how you achieve fluency. You are not memorizing a dictionary, you are building a world inside your mind, a world you can describe beautifully in English. And so, we have reached the end of our delicious journey through the world of food and drink. Look at how far you have come. From that initial moment of panic in a grocery store, you now possess a rich and practical vocabulary. You can name fruits and vegetables, distinguish between meats and seafood, order from a menu with confidence, describe tastes and textures, and even follow a recipe. You have the tools to navigate supermarkets, restaurants, and social meals with ease. But this is not an end. This is a beginning. This vocabulary is your foundation. Now, you must be the one to build upon it. Every meal, every snack, every trip to the market is a new opportunity to practice. Talk to yourself in English as you cook. Describe the color of your apple, the smell of your coffee, the sound of your crispy chips. Change the language on your phone for an hour and browse a food delivery app. Watch a cooking video in English and see how many words you recognize. Remember, language is alive. It is not meant to be perfect, it is meant to be used. Do not fear mistakes. Embrace them. Every time you successfully ask for something, every time you understand a menu item, every time you describe a food correctly, you are winning. You are communicating. You are connecting. You have learned more than just words for sustenance. You have learned words for pleasure, for community, and for culture. Food is a universal language, and now you can speak about it in English. I am so proud of the progress you have made. Take this confidence, step out into the world, and enjoy every bite, every sip, and every conversation that comes your way. You are no longer a beginner in the world of food vocabulary. You are a confident communicator. Congratulations, and keep learning.